All right, that gets us to number 15. And it says f of x equals x minus 4 squared. And they want us to evaluate each of the following. Part A, f of 3 is equal to 1. B, f of negative 2 equals 36. C, f of 0 equals 16. D, f of 4 equals 0. And E, 25 equals x minus 4 squared. So plus or minus 5 equals x minus 4. So x equals negative 1 or x equals 9. Number 16. F of x equals x squared minus 4x minus 5. Again, they want us to find the following. F of negative 2 is going to be 4 plus 8 minus 5, and that's 7. Part B is f of 10, and that's 100 minus 40 minus 5, and that's 55. C, f of 0 equals 0 minus 5, which is negative 5. And D, they want to know when this thing equals 0. That would be x squared minus 4x minus 5. And let's see. This thing is going to factor, isn't it? It's become x minus 5, x plus 1. So this would give us x equals 5, x equals negative 1. Any questions there? 17. Says for each graph below, state whether it's a function or a relation, then state the domain and range for each of the graphs. Part A, this is a function. It passes the vertical line test. The domain, negative 4 is less than or equal to x, and x is less than 2. The range, negative 3 is less than or equal to y, and y is less than 5. Part B. This is indeed a function. The domain, negative 3 is less than or equal to x, and that's less than or equal to 2. The range, negative 2 is less than or equal to y, and y is less than or equal to 3. Any questions on 17?
I missed.
Yes, you did. 18. Find the domain and range for each of the following functions. Part A, the domain.
It isn't a function. Oh yeah, the domain.
Yeah, A is a function. Negative 2 is less than or equal to x, and x is less than 1. The range for part A here is 1 is less than or equal to y, and y is less than or equal to 2. Part B. The domain -1 is less than or equal to x, and x is less than or equal to 2. And the range -2 is less than or equal to y, and y is less than or equal to 2. All right. Number 19, find the domain and range for each of the following functions again. (19a) x is less than 2 and greater than or equal to 0, and y is greater than -1 and less than or equal to 2. B. Let's see, x is less than 2 and it's greater than -2. Y is greater than -2 and less than or equal to 1. Any questions on those? No? Okay. Number 20, they gave us that lovely equation of the line and says, what's the equation? Well, if we think about y equals mx plus b, well, we can see that b is equal to 3 because that's where it crosses the y-intercept, and it looks very much like the slope is -1, and I can get that by counting on the graph. So the equation would be y equals -x plus 3. 21 says examine the following equations and decide which represent linear relationships, and for each equation justify how you know that its graph is linear or not. A is linear. It satisfies that y equals mx plus b. B, not linear, because it has an x squared in it. C, not linear. It has an x squared in it. D, not linear. It has a square root in it. E, not linear. It has x squared in it. F, linear. Right? Y equals a constant. This is a horizontal line. G, linear. That's the equation of a line in standard form. H, not linear. We have an x squared.
Come on, H.
Okay. All right, number 22. Let's see here. Number 22. Below we have a chart listing Taylor's weight at each of his doctor's visits. They remind us that 16 ounces is equal to 1 pound. I changed all the weights to decimal pounds instead of pounds and ounces. Let's see. It says set up a graph and plot the points and sketch in a line or curve of best fit. I did a scatter plot on my calculator and I did a line of best fit. And that was what we were supposed to do in part B. I think a curve of best fit would have been better. My line of best fit was y equals 1.484x plus 8.030. Y is in pounds and x is in months. Okay. And then it says, note any restrictions for the domain and range, show your work. Well, they both have to be greater than 0. Okay. I hate to put upper restrictions on here because, somebody like Bailey might try and want to go for a world record and weigh 48,000 pounds.
No, that's my cousin Alex's goal.
Well, at least he has a goal. Okay, she. So, other than x and y can't equal 0 or negative, they have to be greater than 0. That would be the only restrictions I would have on them. Let's see. And it says, what's he going to weigh at his 1-year appointment? Well, that's 12 months. So y equals 1.484 times 12 plus 8.030. And I got little Taylor is going to weigh 25.838 pounds.
Yikes, that's a lot.
For a 1-year-old? I have no idea. I never had a 1-year-old, so I can't really comment.
25 pounds?
Yeah.
I'd say that's mediocre weight.
I've never had a 1-year-old in my
It's a lot for like a newborn.
I got all my children at age 2 or older. So
How old is your son again, 11?
he'll be 11 in July.
How old is he?
2.
And how old is Margaret?
8. 23. Nicole wanted to research how many students would attend the school dance, and which method listed below is an example of random sample and why. Part A is ask everyone who walks by during lunch. Well, not everybody eats lunch. Asking her friends is very biased. Ask everyone in the dance club. That's probably even more biased. And part D is ask every 10th person on the list of all enrolled students. That would be the best random sample to use, right? Because you're picking them systematically yet randomly. So that would be D. 24. Which of these statements is the least biased? Agree or disagree? There is a need for stricter gun laws in America. Part B. People have said that there is a need for stricter gun laws on dangerous weapons. Do you agree? C. There are more murders by handguns than any other weapon. Do you think there is a need for stricter gun laws? And part D. Agree or disagree? We need to enforce strict gun laws to keep our cities safe. I would say that part A is probably the one that is least biased because it's an agree or disagree and it's just a question or a statement. There is a need for stricter gun laws in America. Do you agree or disagree? I would take A. 25. Again, we're looking for the one that is least biased. Smoking is okay as long as you don't smoke around people who mind.
That's so stupid.
Do you believe people have the right to smoke? Since cigarettes are dangerous and have deadly side effects, wouldn't you agree that smoking should be controlled to save people's lives? Well, apparently smoking cigars is okay. Part D. Do you agree that smoking is okay? And that's probably the least biased one because, again, they're asking B and D. And it says, do you believe people have the right to smoke? So there you're questioning someone's rights. I mean, right now it's a legal substance, so, if you're going to say that you disagree with that, that's saying that you're disagreeing with the laws of the country. So I would say D. Yeah. Number 26, we have Holes R Us Donut Shop. Prices its donut holes as follows: 12 for $1, $1 for 1 dozen, and $1.75 for 2 dozen. this linear relationship extends to any number of dozens of donut holes. Now, part A says, in this situation, what is the dependent variable and what is the independent variable, and how do you know? Well, the dependent is price, because it depends on the number of donut holes you buy. B is number of dozen donut holes that you buy, because you are deciding how many you are going to buy. That's what the one you are controlling. So it is the independent variable. Now, part B says to write a linear equation that could model the cost as a function of the number of dozens of donut holes. Now, for that, I said that P equals 0.75 D plus 0.25, where P was the price and D was the number of dozens of donut holes. Okay. Now, part C says you just got a call from your teacher to stop by Holes R Us and pick up as many donut holes as you can for $5. No. Can you justify your answer? Well, 5 would equal 0.75 D plus 0.25. And when you solve that, I got 6 1/3. Now, if they're willing to sell you a third of a dozen of donut holes, you could get 6 1/3 dozen. Otherwise, you could only get 6 dozen, so therefore you could get 72 or 76 donut holes. Okay. All right.